Hey guys, my name is Masha and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this scattered candy stripe bracelet. So this was actually the second non-Valentine's Day themed bracelet that you guys chose for me to make in my January wrap-up video. The first one I already made and I'm going to post a picture of it on Instagram really soon, so you should definitely follow me on there if you want to see pictures of my bracelets and other cool content. But yeah, I was actually really excited that you guys chose this because I really wanted to try it. The fishbone chevron bracelet video that I did is quite similar to this one, and a lot of you guys really enjoyed that one, which I wasn't expecting at all, but you seem to like it, and this one is quite similar, so I was really happy that you guys chose that. So let's get into the video. I love this gradient that I picked out. If you actually look at the pattern suggests that I should have 12 threads. I do not have 12, but you can do this pattern with however many threads of however many colors that you like. So I just decided to go with this number, and I'm really happy with the gradient that I picked out. I did not know that I had these threads in my collection. My collection is pretty big since I have been making bracelets for a while now, and before you ask, I have no idea where I got these threads. I'm pretty sure these were given to me as a gift, and this one is called Gold Thread Brand, in case anybody's wondering, because I get questions about my threads all the time. And this one is actually from Russia, and it's by the brand Gamma. But yeah, I have no idea when or where I bought these. These have been in my collection for years. I just now have gotten around to using them. And I'm really happy with the gradient that turned out for this bracelet. Right, so let's get into it. We need one thread of each color. You can do this with more threads. I'm just going to do it with one. So I'm going to cut one thread of each color, and I'm going to get back to you once I'm making the ties. So since this bracelet is a candy stripe, I'm going to be doing pretty much the same thing that I usually do, where I make the triangle ends to my bracelets, except I'm not going to be making the full triangle. I'm just going to be making one side. So the bracelet sort of starts diagonally as a candy stripe. And also, since I'm going to be using the special technique that keeps the edges of my bracelet straight, I have 2 extra strings of this color that are just shorter than the rest of them that I'm going to be using as the edge strings. So the first string that I'm going to go in with is the edge string for the left part of the bracelet. And then after that, I'm going to go in with a string of each of the colors that I want for my bracelet in the order that I want them. So this is the set of strings that I have to start with, and I am already loving the gradient. I'm really excited about this bracelet. So what I do next is I separate the first 2 strings. If you haven't watched the video that I did on how to keep the edges of your bracelet straight, I would really recommend you watch that first, because I'm going to be demonstrating it now but not explaining it that much. It is a very important video to watch. It's really insightful. It has really helped me once I found out about that technique. So I really do recommend it, but I'm just going to go over it quickly now. The one on the left is shorter, which is why I'm using this one for the edge, and the one after it is the one I'm actually going to be using in the bracelet. So since this is the edge one, I'm going to be making a backward forward knot onto that one. And then I'm going to be making forward knots on each of these strings until I reach the other one for the edge. And once I reach the thread for the right edge, I'm going to be doing a forward backward knot onto it. So now, similarly to the steps that I did with the fishbone chevron bracelet, we're pretty much doing the same thing, except it's a candy stripe, not a chevron. We're going to take these 2 threads again, and once again, since this is the edge, I'm going to be doing a backward forward knot onto this one. Always onto the edge string on the left, I do backward forward knots. But then once I've done that, I take this string, I take the next string, and I do a forward backward knot. Then I put this string to the side, I continue with the second string, I take the next string, and again I do a forward backward knot. And again I'm going to put this string to the side, focus on the next one, take the one after it, and do a forward backward knot. And I'm going to do this up until I reach the end of this row. And there you have it. It's pretty much just 2 steps. So you do a row with just the one string, and then you do a row with forward backward knots. And then you continue those 2 steps up until you reach the end of the bracelet. Do keep in mind that you do have extra strings for the edges. And once again, there's a separate video on that. So now let's get into the knot with me section of this video. So as I said, this bracelet is quite simple to make. It's literally just 2 steps. So you have the 1 row of regular like forward knots or backward knots, depending on what you prefer, and then just another row of forward, backward, or backward, forward knots, again, whichever you prefer. It's really simple. It's even simpler than the fishbone chevron bracelet that I did, that you guys actually really enjoyed. Because that one is an actual chevron, so it uses both backward and forward knots, whereas this one just uses one or the other. So I actually usually prefer thicker bracelets and more complex bracelets. Now that I am further into my, I don't know, bracelet journey, I guess that you can call it that, now that I actually am better at it, I prefer to make thicker bracelets that are a bit more challenging for me. So actually right now I am working on a giant 40 string wide bracelet that has a pretty complex pattern, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm finding it really, really interesting. But sometimes I love bracelets like this, where they're really, really simple. You just sit down, you do them, it's nice and relaxing, it's easy to just unwind. You don't really have to think about it because it's literally just 2 steps that you're repeating over and over again, and it's great. So I really recommend this, that you try this, because it is a really relaxing and cool bracelet. But also with bracelets like this one and the fishbone chevron bracelet that I did, like just this type of pattern that is kind of repeating, I love gradients. So as you can obviously see, I did a gradient with pink and purple threads, but I also have seen a lot of people on Instagram and on other places like bracelet websites and other stuff. I've seen people post pictures of the bracelets that they've made with these patterns, and a lot of people have chosen like earthy colors, so like brownish greens, and some people have posted like green to yellow, green to blue, blue to yellow. I've seen blue to white, and you can see all of these beautiful gradients, and I think they are so cool. So I would definitely recommend trying this bracelet, and if you do, try a gradient, maybe don't try a gradient. You know, sometimes it's really interesting to express yourself through color. Like obviously we have these different patterns that we can make, and we can find the perfect pattern that we really like, and we're going to make that, we're going to express ourselves through that. But the creator of the pattern has already specified some colors for you to make it with. I think it's really cool when people go in a completely different direction and choose really different colors from the actual pattern itself. I very rarely do that because I'm terrible at choosing colors. I usually, if I'm liking a pattern, I usually stick with the colors that are suggested by the pattern. Sometimes I go differently, but I usually stick with it. But I think when people do go in a different direction and choose the colors themselves, it's such a cool way to express yourself. In addition to just making a really cool pattern, you're also adding this sort of layer of yourself. You're adding a really cool color combination that you've picked out. So yeah, I really found this bracelet to be enjoyable to make. It was super easy. The only thing that really annoyed me with it is that even though I was doing the technique, you can actually see there I'm talking about the tape. Even though I was doing the technique that kept the edges straight, the bracelet would still sort of twist, and it was really annoying to work with, mostly because I am doing a candy stripe, so I'm doing a bunch of knots on like technically different rows. So it sort of twists and it doesn't really work that well because there are so many different knots. I don't know how to describe it. Basically the bracelet is twisting and it was really annoying, so I instead, at the beginning I was like just going with it, but at the end I was like, nope, done with this, and I just added some more tape onto it so that it just wouldn't twist as much. You can also see just a while back there that I was undoing a few mistakes that I made, because as I have stated previously, there is literally not a single bracelet that I have ever made, ever, in the whole entirety of my bracelet journey, as I have previously called it, that I have ever made a bracelet where I did not make a mistake. I always make mistakes in my bracelet at least once in every single bracelet that I make. So definitely, like I've had people comment and like message me or whatever saying like, oh, I make so many mistakes when I'm doing my bracelets, like how do I get better? It's like, I don't know. I don't know how you get better. I make mistakes all the time. But also I feel like it's normal, so I really wouldn't worry. Like sometimes people make mistakes, you know, it's not a big deal, I just roll with it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this bracelet. I think you should definitely try it out if you have the chance. It's really simple, it's really easy. This really didn't take me long, probably like an hour or two. I actually didn't check the footage, but no longer than 2 hours, definitely. I'm probably less. But yeah, definitely give this one a go. And that's how you make a scattered candy stripe bracelet. And if you ever make anything based on any of my videos, I always love to see your guys' creations on Instagram, so send them to me via direct messages or just tag me in a post that you make. I've recently been sharing a lot of the bracelets that you guys made that are inspired by me or are done based on some tutorials that I made. So if you want me to see and share your bracelet, definitely send me a pic on Instagram. I love it when you guys do that. I post videos every Tuesdays and Saturdays, sometimes later, like today, but usually I post on every Tuesday and Saturday, and I will see you on Saturday. Bye!